welcome back to another edition of the John Wayne Surge Protector Podcast, a 60/40 production. I'm Eric Halsey.
I'm Alex Midway, and honestly, if you're listening to us, I hope you still have a job because the U.S. economy report came out, and 92,000 of you lost your jobs.
I think glass half full, we should thank the administration for having such transparency.
Yeah, I don't know how this one got past the desk. It's like, we're not allowed to release this. I was like, we got rid of these for a reason.
Yeah, I was under the impression we were no longer reporting these numbers. Kind of like, who was it, Gallup in the polls? But hey, to the almost 100,000 of you that lost a job in February, it was the shortest month. So can't wait to see what March brings.
What if it was just 2 million? Like, oh, we can't release this. Like, I know, we got to tell them something. Like, just tell them we lost 90,000. Like, you know what? That actually doesn't sound so bad.
Like, I don't know. We had to bomb Iran for the last month's numbers. What do we do this time?
I mean, the bottom line is right now you can either join the army. They're definitely recruiting at this point, or there's a lot of strawberry picking jobs down in Florida. There's a whole lot of openings there, so go ahead and get those jobs back.
Speaking of Flo Rida, and I know it's not on our show notes, did you see that I guess DeSantis was telling everybody Alligator Alcatraz was going to get reimbursed with FEMA funds?
When? Last I heard, they're not getting a dime.
No. But I guess during the whole Alligator Alcatraz building of thing, he's like, this is federal. All this money is going to reimburse Florida for through FEMA funds. So no taxpayers are paying for this. And then this past week, they're like, yeah, no, you are not getting a dime of this money.
Yeah, like we talked about this when it was like a couple hippies sued the place, and they're like, listen, you guys didn't do any studies, nothing else. And then the federal government's like, well, this is technically not federal, and none of our money is going here, so they can keep on building. And DeSantis is like, uh-oh, wait, what?
Uh-huh. So congratulations, Florida. You spent $680 million for a couple chain link fences for, I don't know, 2 months, something like that. ROI, and that would make Al Davis cream himself.
It's wild what these people are doing. And the fact that we're trying to use FEMA funds for this, but when we had all that flooding in Texas, all that stuff just sat on Noam's desk and she wasn't approving funding or anything else. But this one's like, no, we'll definitely make Alligator Alcatraz and we'll use FEMA dollars.
I never thought the leopard would eat my face.
Catchy song. It's right now, if you don't have a job or anything else, you got a lot of time to sit on your couch and watch movies. And one of the ones that I've seen was actually One Battle After Another. And did you catch this?
I have not.
It's pretty good. It's Oscar season apparently, and I was like, you know what? Let me hop on your HBO account, and my little workaround is still working. I'm not going to mention it because then it'll get shut down. But yeah, it's awesome. But do you know what the gist of the whole movie is?
Yes, I do know the gist.
Okay, so essentially, it's Leonardo DiCaprio, and he's like an old school guy, and he ends up calling like one of the hotlines there, and it's him talking to another like rebellious guy, and there's I guess there's a little bit of a disconnect because he's like, hey man, I need you to tell me this, and he starts yelling at him. He's like, well, listen, sir, you're in my space. He's like, what the F are you talking about? He's like, those are trigger words. He's like, what kind of an eco-terrorist are you? He's like, I can't do this. You're being very angry and you're triggering me. He's like, this sucks.
Honestly, the movie feels like Bill Burr co-wrote it.
It could be. It's done pretty well. It's a very good watch, actually. Highly recommended.
It seems very much like anti-woke, but then at the end you're just like, no, it really does make sense if you just kind of, be a decent person.
No, like the way I described it, like it's got that. It is able to poke fun at itself, so it's definitely worth the watch. And there's a reason why I'm doing this podcast and not making movies, because clearly I can't relay what happened there very well, and hell, I can't even do this to half well either.
Yeah, but you know what? I think people like it's kind of like looking at regular porn versus amateur. If our listeners want one of those real podcasts where there's like offices and hanging microphones and stuff, they'd go listen to one of those douchebags. But No, our great listeners like it. We're very punk scene. You know what I mean?
They're just here for the snuff video. One
Yeah.
day when we blow our brains out all night, like, I can't do this anymore. Like, this job sucks. Like, I'm one of the people laid off. Like, this blows, and all you hear is just a shotgun blast.
Just cherry pie all over the wall.
So, if you're here for a train wreck, we're not going to disappoint. It's freaking Friday. Let's get this ball to the road. We got to get rolling. And Tesla ticker on Tuesday was 392, went on to 396, and I don't know. I don't know what moves this thing anymore, to be honest.
Had an interesting conversation today where somebody was explaining crypto again. Now you've tried this with me. It's kind of like trying to teach a monkey Japanese when neither of you speak Japanese.
Mhm.
It's just never going to compute with me. But he said something that got me thinking. I was like, this sounds fake. And I was like, honestly, this sounds exactly like the stock market. So, new theory, both crypto and the stock market, just completely fake money. It's definitely a scam. I just don't know how.
Anything we don't understand is a scam. It's essentially how we got all the anti-vaxxers around. Like, vaccines don't make sense, therefore they're not real. Like, fair enough. Your kid getting polio is going to be real coming up.
Ooh, whoa. Crisis averted. Almost dropped all this unpasteurized milk on my laptop.
It belongs in your belly, not on your laptop, you big silly.
Can't wait to swim in Poop River in my jeans. Anywho.
A guy does not wear shorts. It's the wildest thing ever.
Can't trust him.
But as far as the whole Tesla thing, I did find something. Apparently, the shooter in Austin, he was also we never got into this. Did you read anything about this?
I saw something briefly, and then Laura Loomer showed up. So I was like, nope, don't care anymore.
So apparently, it's essentially just a wet dream for MAGA. Like, if MAGA would tell AI, be like, I need a radicalized guy shooting at people. Like, it's a black dude who had a Free Palestine t-shirt on, started shooting up a place and had a Quran in his car. Like, it checked all the boxes, and it seemed a little bit too much all at the same time. But apparently he was also working at Tesla factory, and he ended up pushing down a coworker down there, and now she's suing for $1 million. I don't know why this company would actually, I don't know, the stock would move at all over $1 million lawsuit when these cars are running over kids, but that's the only thing I found behind the movement.
Yeah, I don't know. We've talked about this. I'm not a conspiracy theory guy, and the past year and a half, I'm like, CIA and AIPAC is behind literally everything. So I don't believe this guy was actually wearing that shirt.
No, he's got the Quran. It's probably got it earmarked to all the radical statements in there. It's like, come on, guys.
Yeah, and once Kash Patel shows up and starts tweeting out evidence, that's when you know for sure this is all a ploy.
I was watching the thing on John Oliver today, again, on your HBO account, and they were doing a thing on the FBI. They went deep into Kash Patel, and like, the fact that he has his own, like, line of clothing and everything else, it's some of the cringiest stuff on the planet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just glad they got rid of DEI so all these, qualified people can take all of these important jobs.
Like, he was over there, like, Europe, and some people were coming out, like, his staff was, all this guy wants to do is just party. Like, he wants to move to different things, and it had, like, a clip of him defending using a private jet to go see his girlfriend. Like, all these people, they're just saying I'm abusing the jet. If I was abusing a jet, I'd go to all of her shows. I'm just going to, like, 15% of his shows. I'm like, okay, so that's the cutoff point. Once you hit 20%, then you're just abusing the system.
Yeah, no. At 15%, it's not abuse. It just happens to be like a lucky break. Anything after that, it becomes abuse, right? It's the dumbest explanation.
It's like, listen, I know I'm following a Grateful Dead and dropping acid, but it's only in 1 in 5 cities that I actually go after him. It's not all the cities.
Yeah, that'd be like Trump being like, I mean, maybe I did molest this child, but it was only one. Wink. And in that, though.
We have a lot more of that coming up, but let's do a quick update on Honey Badgerstan. Ukraine went ahead and blew up a liquefied nitrogen tanker in the middle of an ocean somewhere between Libya and Malta. And in case you're not familiar with that, that's nowhere even close to Ukraine. It's in the Mediterranean Ocean. Putin didn't stop him from coming out, and he's like, listen. He's like, this is a terrorist attack. This isn't the first time we've seen this type of thing. And he does have a point. Like, we just told you on Tuesday that Ukraine went ahead and attacked a couple ships at dock. This one, they ended up sinking the whole thing. And we have a warship. Do you remember the whole Snake Island bit about them shooting on them at the start of a war?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah. The one that developed the whole rallying cry, like Russian warship, go F yourself.
Uh-huh.
Like in 2022, Ukrainians went ahead and transitioned that ship into a submarine class as well. So there's a lot more coming, Vlad. Buckle up and welcome to the party.
Yeah. Now I get the whole like this is a terrorist act. Like I guess if I squint really hard, I could probably see it that way if I tried. Problem is, this is like if you picked a fight with somebody who was 3 feet tall tops, right? And you're just wailing on them, unprovoked, just going after him. And then all of a sudden, he throws an uppercut and hits you in the nuts. And then you go, "You're not doing this fairly." And you're like, "That it doesn't matter, man. You're the aggressor. You're 100 times bigger." Like buddy. I come from the type of trash family that'll gouge your eye and go right for the. We'll start with the groin. But like, I don't feel bad for him at all, man.
Well, you can't feel bad for him because, like, I don't know if it's a shtick by the Kremlin or if they're actually believing it. Like, they're out there blowing up passenger trains and attacking, like, apartment buildings. But in the middle of the night, when Ukraine goes after their money supply, because that's what this LNG ship was, it was going to sell this liquefied natural gas, and they were going to use it to build more drones and bomb more apartment buildings. They took out their money supply, like, whoa, you can't do that. And the ministry, like the Russian ministry came out and said, it's like, we qualify what happened as an act of international terrorism, maritime piracy, and a gross violation of the fundamental norms of international maritime law. Like, buddy, blowing up ships is cool now.
This is when Zelensky just needs to be like, I don't know, man, kind of sounds like Iran. Just walk away.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of similarities happening right now, but let's stick on subject real quick. And the ship was actually called the Arctic Megagas, and it was headed over to Port Said in Egypt, and it had about 62,000 metric tons of liquefied natural gas. And Egypt's petroleum ministry came out and said, like, nah, man, we don't know anything about this ship. And the reason behind that is the Arctic Megagas has been sanctioned by the US and the EU because it was out there skirting around. It's part of a shadow fleet and it wasn't doing anything. So just to recap, like Vladimir Putin goes on TV, calls Ukraine terrorists for blowing up a ship, avoiding sanctions, trying to make him money to continue a war of bombing like civilian targets. Like, that's what we're at right now.
I mean, makes sense. I get it. I understand his gripe, but hard to come off like the victim.
That's like calling a police department. He's like, hey, man, one of your officers confiscated my 8-ball. Like, I'm sorry, what? He's like, yeah, one of those a-holes pulled me over at a traffic stop and got that bag of coke out of me. Like, I want that cocaine back. You guys are terrorists. Like, you can't do that,
buddy. The world runs on perception, and if you refuse to see it the other way, eventually people just come around to looking at it your way.
How is the Onion still in business? Like, this isn't a model that works anymore. You look out there, like, we can't write better stuff in this. Like, we give up.
Yeah, this is a toughie here, but also, could you imagine what that explosion looked like?
Oh, there's actually have you seen the picture of it?
I have not.
It essentially looks like a sunrise. It was pitch black outside, and that thing blowing up over, like, far away, it looks like the sun coming up because they went ahead and I don't know what happened to it. According to Vlad, it was Ukraine, but kudos to Ukraine if it was them, because that is a long way for a sea baby. And if you are attacking ships in the Mediterranean, kudos. Did you find that picture?
Looking at what BBC showed here, and yeah, you can tell where it's dark around the edges of this picture.
Yeah. That thing woke up real quick.
But otherwise, this looks like about 8:30 in the morning at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
That is right.
But one thing, the whole 62K metric tons, like, it got me thinking, I'm like, what the hell? That's a lot. And to put it in perspective, a metric ton currently costs about $800. And honestly, I want to buy a metric ton of just LNG just to say I have it. And it weighs about 2,200 pounds, and it's a cube. It's about 4 feet by 4 feet by 4 feet. So when you crunch the numbers, this actually cost the Russian government about 50 mil before the tanker. And the tanker cost about 60 to 70, depending what size it was. So that attack alone cost them about $100 million. And if it was just a sea baby, that is $1 million item getting you back 100 extra ROIs.
That's why we play the long shots.
It's wild. It's in the Mediterranean too. But one thing I do want to come out, it says the whole thing, like Russia's apparently right now providing coordinates to Iran for their strikes. The same thing that they did before when they were offering bounties on U.S. troops. And the U.S. has actually asked Ukraine with help defending against drones. And if you're a frequent Fox News watcher, I just saw this come up on Twitter, they were playing a clip. They're talking to some experts, and the guy's like, yeah, American drone, anti-drone technology, we're at the top, we're the best. And they're showing some clips, and it's first-person view of just running into a bunch of shaheeds. And what happened was Fox was actually using like footage from a Ukrainian company called Wild Hornets. And they're like, hey, man, you mind not using our footage without saying it's ours? Because that was us.
Yeah, breaking news. Irony is dead. To screw around with Ukraine this much. We're your friends, wink, just kidding. Here's a bunch of intel to Russia. And then to have the balls to be like, hey guys, can you show us how to do this?
Yeah. Like, we're using $1 million systems to take down a $20,000 drone. Like, and we're not always hitting. We're going to need some help if we're going to keep fighting this war for Israel.
Yeah, well, best of luck. Maybe there was something in that whole, like, keeping our allies trusting us. I don't know. This could play out. I could be wrong.
Yeah, so just the recap right now. It's for all those people who are keeping track, like apparently Ukraine's the bad guys, but we're asking them for help, and Russia's literally giving targeting info on our bases to Iran, and they're like, oh, you know what? It's a persecuted Christian nation that we need to help out.
Well, he is a businessman.
They're both business people, and they always steal from poors.
I cannot wait till Newsom just uses the RNC voter base to send all of our troops in the ground. Let's like, yeah, your turn.
If we ever get to 2028, but right now the war in Iran's going, and we got some mixed results. Have you seen some of the pictures where they're essentially like it's a drone strike? You see the video, and it's a missile coming down, and it hits this helicopter on the ground. Yeah, but the rotor blades never move. You're like, huh, what's up with that? And then you see like the after action photos, and you see it's a plane that's been drawn on the ground, and we're just lobbing our missiles at these things, and we're getting Wile E. Coyote over there.
Yeah, it's probably better that we had these missiles instead of feeding people those SNAP benefits when we didn't have money. But hey, you know what? You guys seem like you put all this money to great use. So best of luck to you. I hate this place so much, but upside to this is, so I'm assuming we're using AI on this. We got a shot. We got a shot to beat the robots.
Well, technically, they ended up using Claude, the one from the company that Trump came out and said is an evil company full of communists. Like, it's the one that's using the targeting data. There's like, there's no replacement for it, which is hilarious.
Yeah, what can go wrong telling an autonomous AI system that they're the bad guy? And then still going back for help.
We're out there yelling at the Ukrainians now, asking them for help. Trump's out there yelling at the Anthropic guys, and they're like, we're going to need you for this thing with Iran we got going on. Like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, make up your mind.
It could just be like, I hate the cold and I am ready for it to be summer. But every time I read more into this Iran, this whole war, all I can think of is Biden on a Delaware beach just smoking a cigarette, just with the biggest smile on his face.
Causing all these problems. I know, I feel the same.
Causing all this problem with Iran.
Sabotaging President Donald J. Trump all the way from his beach with Hunter Biden's laptop.
And the J stands for just the tip. But pinning that.
But we do have some wins that we're making. I just found out that we have 53 total nuclear submarines. And honestly, that's a pretty badass number. Those things are awesome. We don't know exactly where they are, and keep it that way until Fearless Leader puts up a map showing a location of every last one of them. But for now, they're all hidden. And one of them did take down the Iris Dena, an Iranian frigate. It's kind of new. It was released in 2015, and it wasn't even close to Iran. It was off the coast of India out there, a good ways off the coast. And honestly, some people are complaining about this, saying, oh, it was coming back from exercise and everything else. I don't see an issue with that when Iran comes out and says the U.S. isn't safe anywhere. You know what? That opens up kind of a open season on anything Iranian. If you're going to say you're going to attack Americans anywhere, Americans should be able to attack you wherever as well.
Yeah, I get the argument. And once he says it, you really don't have a choice other than be like, guess this is to the death then. But also feel like we're the aggressors here.
100%. Like some of the things that are coming out, it was essentially these training exercises down there in India. And about 2 weeks ago, the sailors out there shook hands with American sailors and everything else. And there's conflicting reports of whether this thing was armed or not. But it is kind of almost a crown jewel of the Iranian Navy. And when you get a layup like that, you take the layup shot. You're essentially at war. Whatever reason for it is, you are at war now. And when someone says, like, I'm going to murk your civilians anywhere in the world, if you have a chance to take out the prized possession, you take out the prized possession.
Yeah, I get it. Still really hard to seem like the good guys when you have Hegseth over here talking about we're not going to worry about some sissy-ass rules of engagement and, so on and so forth. Feel like we're pushing them to play this hand, but you know what? Yeah. This is the bed we're laying in.
Well, I mean, essentially, if you remember when Trump met with Zelensky a while back, he's like, yeah, just because you have a war going on, you can't have elections. Like, oh, boy, that's pretty awesome. Like, what? That's your takeaway? Like, a war and you can't have election? That's pretty awesome. It's the same thing when he came out and said, like, some of you may die. That's what happens in war. Like, okay.
Yeah. Have you seen the draft Baron hashtag? It's been all over this week.
Yeah, it's trending, and he should go. I mean, what's it called? Prince Harry did 2 tours in Afghanistan. Like, buddy, you want to keep doing this? Like, why doesn't someone from your effing family go into this service? Like, instead of calling us losers and suckers, like, show us you care about it. And God knows if Barron does go in, he's never going to the front lines, but you know what? Put him in there.
Yeah, I mean, and Harry's uncle was like a full-blown child rapist, right? Uncle, not even father. Like, that's opposite side. Barron over here has got, the direct pipeline.
I mean, he comes from
the father.
He comes from good genes. Papa's 215 and 6'7" or whatever the F it is. I forget.
It's 6'3", 215.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow, for those paying attention.
Well, inflating numbers is apparently what all of them are doing, because did you see the video of Pete Hegseth out there?
The bench press?
Yeah. And it made it look like he was bench pressing 315 because there was a bunch of plates. And then one guy's like, wait a second. I was like, those look like 10s on there. And if you're going to say those are 10 kilograms, fine, they're 10 kilogram plates. But even with 10 kilograms on there, that's 170 pounds that he's bench pressing. It's not exactly diesel numbers. Like, he gets up as if he broke Goldberg's record.
First off, Hegseth can never go 173-0. Let's just go ahead and get that one on the books. 2, and you know what? This whole 315 with the fake plates, it's also an old professional wrestling trope. People used to do this all the time for great displays of power. Everything they're doing has at some point been a wrestling storyline. I think that's why Linda McMahon is heading education and gunning for that pardon for when her husband ends up, getting charged for raping all those kids.
Oh, they're all getting it. There's hands down. I mean, we elected a guy, we told him, like, hey, man, you're able to do whatever you want in office, and you can hand out pardons. He's like, what if I charge for him? Like, buddy, we just told you we can't charge you with anything. Like, it's your funeral.
I can't wait till Newsom sends a Sicario out and just starts taking this blood by force. Can't charge me. Can't charge me.
Open up gates, but one thing I do have a problem as far as that ship sinking is the fact that we're breaking a Geneva Convention Article 12. And that one requires protection of shipwrecked persons without adverse distinction. essentially, again, we went over this with a whole like boats out there when we were messing with Venezuela. Like, I get a drone strike. You have no one in the area to rescue the people in the boat. I mean, don't double tap them, but whatever. We're past that. But when you have an actual like submarine and you knock out a ship and you see these sailors, like, bro, like, you're on the opposite side. Nobody wants that stuff. Like, pull over, take the time, offer assistance. Be like, no, that's a weak thing. We're alpha male. I was like, no, you're an idiot. We're literally breaking the Geneva Convention.
Yeah, at the very least, scoop them up and interrogate.
Yes, those are assets you can do, intelligence assets. But whatever. I guess we don't do intelligence in this country anymore.
I've never been so pro Netherland in my life. I cannot wait till these guys are at the Hague.
Before we get to The Hague, we're going to reshape the world. And one thing that came out and I found hilarious. Donald Trump says he wants to be involved in choosing the next supreme leader. Like, come on, man. Like, I get it. We've done regime change and everything else in the past, but we've never come out and said it. We did it quietly. Like, you know what? Yada, yada, yada. Like, the same thing that we did over in Venezuela where we have a puppet guy running. Like, we're fine there, but no one drew attention to it. Like, tell Grandpa not to say the quiet part out loud.
Yeah, it's like cheating on your husband for 20 years. It's fine as long as nobody talks about it in front of you, but when you come out and just plainly, no, never mind, we'll talk about it later.
So, another thing that Grandpa had said is he's voiced opposition on Thursday to appointing the son of the assassinated Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. And honestly, I thought this was a free space. I don't know why we had to write this, but you can't. No one can support the son of a guy you just killed becoming a president and having control of the army. Like, I'm in the same boat with Trump. If I kill your dad, like, I don't want you taking over the family business.
Yeah, it's pretty much every samurai story ever told. Like, if eventually the son will grow up and then come for vengeance.
Yeah. For vendetta.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm glad he's at least thinking forward enough to say maybe that's a bad idea.
But on the bright side, with all these things going on, at least we had 3 branches of government. I mean, we kind of have, like, we may have lost the Supreme Court on this one, as the judicial branch has hits that include Citizens United and given the power to the president to do, well, anything. But at least we have a legislative. I mean, let's take a look at it. Oh, U.S. House of Representatives votes 219 to 212 against a resolution requiring Congress's approval for further military action in Iran. So, straight down the party lines, they went ahead and gave a guy unrestricted power. And remember when everyone was screaming about government overreach over anything that Biden would do? And now we're literally letting a guy invade countries and, like, well, he's got to do what he's got to do. He can't get hampered by all these rules.
Yeah, we have a king, and shame on those 4 Democrats for joining in. I don't know what to tell you, man. This is so bad.
Like, I want to hear the argument of the people who voted for it, but, like, dude, you can't. Like, well, I'm retiring at the end of the year. Like, hey, do something nice, man. Like, you know you're effing up. Like, how will you look at your kids? You're like, well, I'm going to look at them from the inside of my G6 jet. Like, all right, fair enough. At least you're honest about it.
Yeah, and that argument makes sense for the people that can afford jets. The rest of you poors, however, that's what I want to know. How is this making your life any better?
If you're in Congress making money moves, someone told you you're going to have a job as a consultant at an actual private company called Raytheon or Lockheed Martin when you get out. You just got to keep voting for things.
I actually saw a reporter like going, if you're surprised by this, you're nuts. Look at everything. And they showed what AIPAC wants versus how close it gets every time. You know, like, so every single time, two to 4 people cross the aisle. And they're like, do you think this keeps happening on accident?
Yeah. No, I mean,
it's
honestly,
our money, though.
Neither one of us is surprised. We saw this one kind of coming. But what has actually surprised me is I still have buddies who we served in the military together, and some of them support Trump. Reasons I honestly don't know why, But I am starting to see pushback, and it's not just the little Hodge twins or whatever else. Like, I've had buddies start posting up on Facebook about not doing this. And again, to them, I also say, welcome to the party, pal. And I want all of you to go ahead and get your little bucket of rage and give me that Benghazi energy. Because when Trump was asked about not evacuating anybody out of the embassies, not evacuating anyone who's in the Middle East, he says it all happened very quickly. If Hillary Clinton had said that, you would roast her. The fact is, these guys were making bets on Kalshi and getting rich off of it. As far as when the actual, we already had the 6 dead arrive over in Dover. And if you take a look at the pictures there's nobody from this administration there greeting them. No one's taking a look at these caskets. They're out there getting rich off of it. And you guys are just silent. Like, you ripped into Hillary for something like this. Like, I want that same outrage right now. I want that anger. You can't have a double standard.
Gotta tell you, it sounds like not only are you anti-Semitic, but you also don't support the troops.
Clearly. I also hate the troops, even if I was one of them. But right now, we're not allowed to talk about it.
So speaking of you being a sucker and a loser,
you know,
the people who just say he really cares, I don't get it.
Yeah, there's no reason behind it. But I mean, let's do it in numbers that maybe you'll understand. If you're a big financial guy, like, you know what, 18-year-olds dying, that's a price a bit, like doing business. I mean, as long as they come from a poor families. So to date, since Saturday, we have lost $2 billion worth of military equipment. Like, the biggest driver of this was a $1.1 billion radar system. Did you know we had a $1.1 billion radar?
Not until I Googled this when you sent it over to me before we started recording.
Yeah! Like, it's wild. So apparently it's one of a handful of early warning detection system in the entire U.S. global missile defense. Like, it detects missiles that launches from 5,000 kilometers away. It provides tracking data for both Patriots, THAADs, and the Aegis systems as well. So when we had this actual radar system, we saw the missiles, and they impacted this radar system, and now we don't have it, and they're still firing missiles. So we are way worse off than we were on Saturday.
I don't know if you have your calculator out, but I just did something. So that thing's, let's drop it down and say it was $1 billion.
Yeah, we got a Black Friday sale on radars.
Yeah. So, all right, we bought this bad boy on Prime Day. Let's call it 1 billion even. And I feel like over the past few years, the word billion has been thrown around so much that it doesn't really mean anything anymore. Did you know that $1 billion, right? Let's say, you work a job, I work a job. Let's say we work for 50 years before retirement. In order to reach $1 billion without spending a dime of it, we would have to be making $20 million a year for 50 years.
Seems doable.
And that's what we blew on a radar truck.
Yeah. Now go ahead and see how many school lunches $1 billion would have bought. How many loans we would have pretty much done and invested in ourselves.
Oh my God.
Yeah, how many veterans we could keep off the effing streets? How's that for a freaking number for you?
I mean, honestly, the dollar amounts we are spending it's theoretical at this point. Like it's hard to even like find a concrete image in your brain to be like, this is how much this costs. It's staggering to me.
Yeah, the amount of infrastructure we could have built with $1 billion. But honestly, if that radar was the only thing we lost, we wouldn't be at $2 billion because we lost a $500 million radar system as well. Like, I didn't know we had a radar system that's $1 billion. I sure as hell didn't know we had one that's $500 million. And the $500 million one is what really drives me. It's the AN-TPY-2. And have you seen the Dune movie?
I have not.
All right. So anyone who's seen the Dune movie, played the Dune games or anything else like that, it looks like a little spice harvester. For you, it looks like a large RV.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. And this thing, I don't know how we shoved $500 million worth of stuff inside an RV. It makes no sense to me. And I understand the big old $1 billion system getting blown up in Qatar. It looks like a giant mosque, the Dome of a Rock in Israel, if you've ever seen it, and you can't move that. This thing we have all this money in it, and it comes with wheels, and it's literally a radar system. Its job is to see missiles. Why this thing remained in park while missiles rain down on it? That's the part that's beyond me.
Maybe, Mr. Negative Nancy over there, maybe this was ordered by Pete Hegseth and nobody could blow into the tube to get it started.
It has an interlock device. Like, whoa, is anyone sober? Like, Cash, like, not even close.
Guys, we're never going to get to Taco Bell if they don't beep.
They couldn't find one sober person out there. Like, you keep a sober pour around with you while you guys drink champagne.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Iran is an booze-free country.
Oh, buddy, we were drinking Afghanistan, baby. Don't you worry about how to get alcohol in a Muslim nation.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If this was a sobriety lock on this thing, that means that booze was brought in from the domestic side of us.
Wow. When you're rolling around in G6s with the Department of Homeland, like, yeah, you keep a stocked minibar.
Just imagine a bunch of guys with Bud Lights being like, well, at least we ain't trans, but right before they blow up.
At least our commander-in-chief ain't some broad who doesn't make up her mind. Like, fair enough, guys.
Jesus. And you know what? And I don't take Americans dying lightly overseas, but this seems like maybe we need some DEI, get some people that actually earned their way into these positions instead of just got kicked out because they were black.
No, we need people who are loyal. That's the only thing that really matters at this point. But let's move this thing along. We're running a little bit late here, but the other numbers, yeah. We told you guys about the F-15s, and I was a little bit off on it prior. There were F-15E Strike Eagles, and they were actually shot over in Kuwait. And the one thing that kind of got my attention is that you think by now that the Kuwaitis would be used to like seeing American air power, you know, since the whole Gulf War they were flying overhead and protecting them. But no, they went ahead and shot down 3 F-15Es.
Is the E like the electric version?
Yeah, it's a plug-in hybrid. All those gay airplanes just went down because they're not powered by clean coal. Like, he wants to put coal in airplanes.
He's hell-bent on helping design these things, so it's not out of the question.
It's gotta have all golded out, like asbestos for the seats, like all the pilots are itchy. Like, you keep scratching, accidentally launch a missile, like, whoops, there's another $6 million.
Why are all these soldiers wearing camouflage? You can't even see them. I want them shiny gold reflective everywhere.
Did I send it to you on Instagram? It's one comic talking about Trump. He's like, man, I swear to God, like, he's a gay guy. He's like, all this guy wants to do is just design flags, design ballrooms, and like grab him by the poo. He's like, I don't know any straight person who's ever said that after meeting with a chick.
Yeah, there was also another, it may have been the same guy, was like, we have to either Puerto Rico's got to F off or we got to lose a state, because if we end up making a 51st state, that means he's going to redesign the flag.
Yeah, that was a lead off to that joke there.
Oh, it's bad.
I'm going to try and find that one. But on the bright side, there's more coming out of the Republicans. They're debating whether to attach wildfire aid and $15 billion in tariff relief for farmers. I don't know, seems like a self-inflicted wound, but whatever on that one. It's in a funding package for the military. And right now, we're getting ready to go ahead and ask for more money, not just for tariff relief, not just for anything else, but another $50 billion more to the military. And do you know what our current budget is for 2026?
I'm assuming it's one of those made-up numbers.
Yes, $1 trillion. And that was higher than before, but that is nothing compared to 2027. Do you know what our budget for 2027 is?
Tell me it's less.
It is 50% more. It is $500 billion more at $1.5 trillion.
But in October, Mike Johnson said that we don't have $1 billion to help SNAP funds. So I'm assuming there's no way this passes, right?
No, he's right. We don't have $1 billion for SNAP, but we have 1.5 trillion for missiles.
Oh, okay. Okay. So America first is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, so essentially we don't have the money for the avocado toast, but if you need AR rounds, we got you covered.
Does anybody understand that you have to feed the kids first before you can either A, send them off to war at 18 or wait till they turn about 10 years old to rape them?
Well, the reason we've been having these nonstop wars is because we've been feeding our troops. If we send hungry troops, they will A, pillage to get what they need, and B, by pillaging, they will take more of the enemy's land faster, therefore reducing our time in wars and saving us money.
So we should start starving the troops then.
Yes, they become angrier and more wanting to go to the front lines.
Real warriors like Hegseth once.
Yes, as long as they're lifting 170 pounds and screaming really loud and have sweet knuckle tats, we're golden.
No, maybe it's just alpha genes kicking in, like the genes that grew Elon's hair back.
Yeah, nothing but genes. That's what
Yeah.
we're worried about right now. It's like, who else had ideas about genes and perfecting them? A master gene seed, if you will.
I mean, some people say stuff about gender affirming care, and I guess I guess putting fake weights on on for a video of you bench pressing. It's kind of in the same shtick, isn't it?
Jesus. Like, why do we have to do this? Like, but I honestly could have lived without seeing RFK in a sauna. Like, I could have died a happy guy, like, not seeing him and Kid Rock on an attack bike or whatever those things are called from CrossFit. Like, both of them in a sauna. Like, that is the most homoerotic things. Like, can you imagine... What's it called? Buttigieg and Biden in a sauna doing that. How much it would have been flamed.
I'm still trying to figure out why Newsom hasn't made his own video yet.
Well, the guys, what's it called? Wendy's just came out and did a Burger Biden video, so our private sector's alive and healthy with competition.
I won't be happy until the CEO from Taco Bell shows up hammered. Just taco sauce dripping down his shirt. Just not even English. Just
It's just Cantina. Just
getting
hammered
his
off
daughter to
the,
blow into his locked.
just slams a code red, kills a chalupa.
Baja Blast actually can help bypass these safety protocols.
What else we got going on here?
All right, so the House garnered up enough votes to subpoena Pam Bondi, and wouldn't you know it, a couple of extra pages got released from the Epstein files. And see, originally these pages were, quote, mistakenly determined to be duplicates, end quote, but they turned out to be transcripts of an FBI interview from in 2019 by a woman claiming to be victimized by Donald Trump when she was 13 to 15 years old. Have you read any of this?
I started to look into it. I didn't see too much on it. What I did notice was the fact that there was 53 pages that NPR found were not shown, and they just released 13 of them, and that means there's 30 some other pages. So if this is damning in itself that way, like, imagine what the other 30 say.
So this is a PG podcast, so I'm going to try real hard here. So if you can just open your ears and sort of listen between the lines. This now woman, then child, basically says she got trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein, introduced to Donald Trump, who then showed her what good girls do by trying to forcibly jam his little president into her mouth. She bit him, and in retaliation, he punched her and then had her escorted away.
Correction. She bit him, but he only apparently punched her after she started giggling about it. So I don't know if there was a break between the bite, and he's like, you know what, I might be into this. And then she's like, hee. He's like, well, I can't take that. Now you're attacking my fragile male ego.
I like to think about this story as I see those images from Trump supporters with Jesus with his hand resting on Trump's shoulder.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's a God's candidate. I mean, like, what's it called? There was a thing that came out. Apparently, like, some of the troops out there stationed had their company commander come out and say, like, this is part of God's plan. We're getting ready for Armageddon. Like, buddy, you keep that est out of here.
It's a full-blown cult, man.
Yeah,
The
like,
only thing you're missing are the robes.
Like, you want to go paint cherry pie and do whatever, wait for your savior to come down, go for it. Like, stop bringing that religious BS over to the military, man. We're all heathens.
Go home and drink your Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Quit
Um,
infringing.
yeah, very weird to be just glossing over the rest of that story, but know who else had a tough week? Your favorite puppy killer, Christy Gnome. She just got her walking papers yesterday. Please hold for standing ovation. Now, I know what you're thinking. Eric, is this retribution for Cricket? Does this avenge him? No. That blood feud will continue until she dies in a gravel pit for not being obedient, which with this administration isn't always completely off the table. Gnome has been under fire for a while now for a wide array of despicable behavior, including, but not limited to, Ice being undertrained and overly aggressive, immediately declaring people domestic terrorists after gunning them down, spending millions and millions of taxpayer dollars on cosplay tough girl commercials, embezzling funds through backdoor deals with said commercials, buying a luxury jet and retrofitting a bedroom into it because DHS needed it for some reason, hiring Corey Lewandowski, who she's had decades-long affair with, allegedly. Family values. Did you see her talking to Congress this week?
I saw some of it, but did you see the notice from Homeland Security on their website?
No. What is this?
Thanks to President Trump and Secretary Gnome, America is safer. Release date March 5th. That was yesterday. Secretary Gnome has been the most successful DHS secretary in history.
Well, I guess that's a nice send-off to a fake job they just created. But you know what? Great. No egg on the face this time around.
Well, technically, have you heard of any other DHS secretary that we've had?
No, but I feel like you're leading me into something.
I am, because I'm like, you know what? I was like, if she's the most successful, like, what kind of glue sniffers have we had in this position before? And this position was actually started back by Bushy. He was the first one because this wasn't around before 9/11. This actually happened, and again, John Oliver did a whole episode on it. But most presidents have had either 2 or 3 DHS secretaries. Do you know who leads the charge with the most?
I'm guessing it's Trump?
During his first term, there were 6 of them.
Wow.
2 of them had unlawful tenures. So essentially, you just shoving them into like square pegs in the circle holes. Can you guess who had the shortest tenured secretary?
This is first term?
Eddie, since the inception of the agency, who had the shortest term? Which president? And follow-up question, how long?
I'm going to say Trump.
Correct.
I'm going to say 3 weeks.
Wrong. It was 9 days by a gentleman named Pete Gaynor.
We were so close. Oh,
And-
the fun you could have with that last name.
Oh, yeah. And currently, what's it called? We're a year in, and we've had 2 of them so far. Wait, I'm sorry. I was wrong. Shortest tenure was 5 days. It was Benjamin Huffman, also appointed by Trump.
Well, he does know how to pick them.
Only the best people.
So, honestly, the list of Gnome's horrific nonsense could go on and on. But I kind of want to talk about the cuck chair incident.
They don't care.
They care. I care.
No, listen, they've sold out their country. They've sold out their values. Like, I just want to make the most money on this planet. This way I can go to my kingdom in heaven because I am a nice Christian man / woman or whatever it is. He's like, all their values are in the toilet. It is about the dollar. I don't think they care.
Well, I care. So, in a hearing where Gnome was getting ripped up this week, one of our House representatives hit her up with so you retrofitted a bedroom into this luxury DHS jet. She said, it appears that way. He was like, is this so you could bang Corey Lewandowski? Who evidently she's had a 20-year affair with.
I don't, honestly, I looked into this one. I don't think those were the exact words. I don't think that was brought up because I had initially seen an article where they asked, they were going over some emails with someone else, meet me at the S Palace with E and an X in between or after the S From what I read on it, it was never asked that way, but her and Lewandowski's apparently, it's been said by unnamed sources that they do have a relationship, allegedly, but I don't think that was ever said at the testimony.
At the testimony, she was asked straight up if she's ever had a sexual relationship with Lewandowski, and she did her best Pam Bondi impression of not answering.
Fair enough. I was wrong, and I feel better about it.
Yeah, she immediately went into something Joe Biden's whatever, and just sort of,
when in doubt, Biden's out.
So retrofitting a new luxury jet to become a air bang bus, so you can get on that Mile High Club. You know, if you can pull it off, good for you.
Didn't they ask,
I hope Cricket's just waiting in hell for her.
Well, he would be in heaven.
I hope he goes back down for full vengeance.
I don't know if I get to heaven if I want to take my chances going to hell, buddy.
I hope it's like from Preacher and he just follows her down.
Fair enough. Not what I like.
This episode is not brought to you by Preacher, but it was amazing, and I fully suggest everybody go back and try and watch it. So honestly, this list can go on forever, but since we can already smell that preemptive pardon coming her way, why waste time on this rubber-faced goblin anymore?
She is actually not even out of the administration. She is still in a position of power at something called the Shield of America.
Yes, a completely made-up job with zero description on what it is she would actually be doing.
Very similar to the company that she hired to run her ads, but the bottom line is the money is not fake. So she's still getting paid with our tax dollars. It has a pretty cool title.
Yep, it's a real thing that they stole from the Marvel Universe. So congratulations. I can't wait for Stan Lee Inc. to sue them to shit.
I mean, they just Ben Stiller just told him to stop using the thing from Tropic Thunder. He's like, listen, guys, we didn't authorize any of this. Like, whatever, we'll do whatever we want.
Kesha just did it too. They're just kings of copyright infringement.
Yeah.
So who's replacing this goblin? The answer is Mark Wayne Mullen, who I've only known as the guy cowering behind a chair on January 6th. Right? That is the only time I've ever seen this guy. But because I'm a man of the people, I did some Googling so you don't have to. And Mullen is a Trump loyalist who once went 5-0 as an amateur MMA fighter. All right. Sounds about like the type of guy. He's also a 2020 election denier, hates trans people, and occasionally wears a cowboy hat. So I cannot wait until J.D. Vance taps his shoulder to see if he wants to be vice president in the next run.
Well, you also might remember him as the guy who wanted to fight on the floor.
Yep, I did see that.
He's like, it says on here that you would fight me anywhere, anytime. He's like, right here's anywhere. Right now is anytime. Like, let's do this, bro.
And honestly, I don't care if it was Chuck Schumer. Nobody's going to let it happen. That's when you get up and flip a table and be like, all right, let's go, tough guy.
Hold me back, bro. Like, you know they're holding you back.
And Chuck's just writing the strongest worded letter you've ever seen.
It's for hurting a TikTok dance.
Shout out to this tweet I saw. Mark Wayne Mullen can't even secure the border between his two first names. Mwah! Beautiful tweet.
Quality.
And finally, because we are running late as hell, feel-good story going into the weekend. Pardoned January 6th rioter Andrew Paul Johnson was just sentenced this week to life in prison for multiple counts of child molestation and transmission of material harmful to a minor. According to police, Johnson tried to silence his children victims by promising them a cut of the millions of dollars he was expecting to receive as restitution from the Trump administration for his role in the January 6th riot. Lots to unpack there, buddy.
It is a running theme. Like, most of these guys who get pardoned seem to get back into the news, and it's not because they rescued a puppy.
Yeah. What do the Republicans call it when it's black people? Catch and release.
Yeah.
Right? I swear to you, it's almost like it's not so much of a race issue as a scumbag issue.
And these guys like, wait a second, that pardon's not a blanket one? Like, I don't have permission to do anything. Like, no, that's just the president, big homie.
Yeah, so just to reiterate here, Trump let a child molester out of prison. All Republicans love children, and these stupid poors really believe doing Trump's bidding will get them rich, despite a mountain of examples of Trump not paying people he actually had contracts with. So
Until
keep
this guy
going, stupids.
until he becomes in charge of school lunches at every school district.
Until he sets him up with that guy from Life Touch and any of the other kid touchers from the files.
Well, it's here on the Friday, and who knows what the weekend will bring.
Yeah, can't wait to find out we're at war with like Monaco or something.
Or some more. You know what? Maybe Trump will come out with some more requirements. He's like, I also want to have half of Iran. Like, all right, buddy. Like, come on. Like, you're doing the Putin thing now.
Just do yourself a favor and keep your eyes on your six there, Spain.
Yeah. We're going to have some fun things for you guys on Tuesday. Enjoy your weekend, and thanks for taking the time to be with us. I'm Alex Midway.
No, I'm Eric Halsey.
Daddy, chill.
Later, Gators.